How I would use the cards would be that I'd make sure that the person is at ease with me, and once they've calmed down a little bit, because people always think you're going to look for doom and gloom, and that's not necessary. And I don't say, darling, the doors are going to shut in your face one after another. So I actually look at the cards and they're looking at me, and that's when the trust comes and connects between me and my client.
I like the tarot cards because they help a person to think in a different way. They're kind of blue sky thinking in many ways. You come from a symbolic angle rather than a rational, and sometimes they can reveal unexpected things which will be picked up by your intuition and take you in a direction and take the reading in a direction that you might not have expected.
I think in my personal view, the cards are quite helpful for people, career moves, house moves, and most important if they're having children. Men and women are slightly different views that they come for reading. Men mostly come for careers, women come for emotional issues.
I would suggest a person could get started with the tarot by working with someone they know, but not too much, so that there's things that can be revealed from the cards. And work first in a cheerful way. Don't get too serious and start thinking about this is going to mean this and this is going to mean that and so forth. Just work and make your mistakes, because you have to make mistakes in order to learn. And making mistakes with the cards is great. And just because it doesn't correspond completely with what it says in the books doesn't mean you're wrong.
How I work with the cards is probably different than how other clairvoyant people work the cards. I have a pack of 4 cards, and I ask the client to pick a card from anywhere in the pack and then pass me the cards without them looking at it, and then I will place my hand on the card, turn it over, and then I will see clairvoyance on the card.
When I teach the tarot to people, I try to emphasise the fact that it's not book learning that's necessary, but an understanding of symbolism. And one symbol in the card may represent one thing to one person, and it may represent something else to somebody else. So the way to understand the cards is to understand how symbols work. In many ways, it's a bit like the way you interpret a dream. The symbols represent something about the person or the conditions around them.
I don't look for the traditional tarot cards. I use my own intuition.
I think it's unwise for a person to read their own cards, because the problem is we'll see what we fear and we see what we want to see. So how do we distinguish between fantasy and fact? In many ways, with most oracles and most forms of divination, it is probably better to have someone else do the reading for you.
I don't believe you should mix tarot cards with mediumship. Mediumship is giving proof of life after death and evidential proof. The cards are just a tool.
The cards can sometimes give pointers, but they're not going to tell you the future.
Psychometry is really like the secret of using the cards, and I find that if somebody puts their hand on one of the tarot cards and reading for them, it gives the vibration on the cards, so it's psychometry. So I'm using the two together.
The cards vary a great deal. Some are very simple in that they might, for example, show the swords with an ace of swords, a 2 of swords, a 3 of swords, and that's a bit hard to interpret. So I would go initially for a pack that is has pictures on every one. For example, the AE weight pack is pretty good because there's a symbol for every single card, and it will help you to get to know the cards more easily.
Every person that you have that comes to you for a tarot reading, remember, are an individual, and their problems are different, so you can't just do it textbook style.
It doesn't really matter what type of layout you give for the cards, as long as each position represents something for you. The simplest of layouts might be past, present and future, with just 3 cards laid out. The card spreads become more complicated, such as the Celtic cross, which is a popular layout, and the horseshoe spread and so forth, and other huge spreads that involve one card for every day of the year. But it's probably best just to keep it simple, and don't worry too much about if you're getting it right with this card in the right position for this, that and the other. As long as it means something for you, that's what's important.
I don't believe the tarot card is for everybody. I believe it's for some people, and I feel that people don't know the difference between tarot reading, mediumship and clairvoyance. But tarot is for some people but not for others.
Some people can misinterpret the cards, and things like the death card, for example, may be a frightening card to receive in a reading. And of course the immediate assumption by a novice is that the card represents an actual death. But as most tarot readers will tell you, these cards often symbolise something, and with a death it's like the ending of one phase in your life and the beginning of a new one.
I trust my instinct, what's telling me. I've never read a book how to read the tarot cards or lay the tarot cards out. I use my own ability and it works for me.